Hello, hello! So lovely to be back. Happy Saturday. I'm Gail and today we're going to be doing some watercolours. So welcome if you're joining, and you will see just up here that today I'm doing a giveaway draw. So for people who are watching live, you can enter the giveaway draw, and I'll tell you some more about that when there are some people on the stream. So I'll just wait for a few people to join before I introduce that. But so nice to see you. Let me just check the chat is working. And if you're watching on Instagram, welcome. Thank you for joining. You can see sort of a third of the screen on Instagram. It crops it to a portrait format. So if you want to see the full width and you'll get a better view of my drawing board, which is here, then by all means head over to YouTube, and the link is in my bio. You can go straight to this video on YouTube. It should just pop up really easily. Okay, so I'm so excited with this this plan for today. It was slightly inspired by two things. Firstly, it was inspired by, I don't know if you remember, a few weeks ago I did a live stream demo of some koi carp, and I really like the contrasts between the gold and the blue. Ah, hello Creative Dragonfly, so lovely to see you, thank you. You're feeling uncreative. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, why don't you let yourself off the hook today? Maybe you could just look at those leaves rather than trying and do things, and then you can watch it back another time. You don't even need to make up a joke. You could just enjoy being together. Oh, thank you. Hello. Is that Deirdre? I think it might be. Yes, hi. You need to have an artist. Yes, you do need an artist pseudonym. Yeah, we'll have to think of one for you. Okay, so before I'll go back to this a couple of times just so people can see. But oh, thank you for subscribing, Deirdre. I can't account for why that strange zombie has just popped up. Why, that's nothing, that's no personal judgment. Okay, so let me just show you the giveaway. So this is, I've got some things showing just over here so you can see. Let's move your chat down there a bit so you can see. Oh, Paul, welcome. It's so lovely to see you. Yes, so great. Okay, so we've got some people, we've got some new viewers and some regulars, and Paul is a returning regular back from his jaunt. How are you, Paul? Okay, so before I go into too much detail about autumn leaves, which I promise is coming up, I just wanted to explain what's going on with this draw. So these are, I've just put some examples up here of the Soggy Rabbit portraits that I do. In fact, I can actually show you, Deirdre, who's joining. Look, Deirdre, here's yours right here, in progress. I could put it under here. Oh, so there you go. Okay, so it is happening, and so my plan is that I just thought it would be a really nice thing to do on the stream, not the next one, but the next one, to do a demo, because I used to do Soggy Rabbit live streams and they were really fun, and I thought it would be a nice way to finish this series. So what I thought, and I'd also really like to show my appreciation for you all, but I realised that some people, this is a bit of an abstract concept, so I thought I would do a little explain and give you a chance to win one. So really what they are is a great present, a Christmas present for any child or sometimes adults who like cuddly toys. So what you get is what's in this picture just here. It's a soft toy portrait and it's framed. So I'm giving away an A5 one, and you can see there's some examples there of photos that I've had and drawings that have come from them. So all you have to do to enter is put yourself in this chat. So you three, unless you want to actively opt out, you're on the list. And then next week I will I'll draw it live. So I don't think there are going to be many entries compared to some other giveaways that I run. So I have to say, I think the odds are hugely stacked in your favour. I may do one more invitation to join during the beginning of the live stream next week, and then towards the end of the live stream I will draw the winner, and then the winner needs to send me a photo, and then I'll do their portrait as a demo, and then they'll get it. So it's a brilliant Christmas present to give to somebody. So if you know any kids who've got soft toys that they absolutely love, then it's something that you can have wrapped up ready for Christmas. Okay, so that's enough of that for now. You'll have to excuse me, my dearest, darling, cuddly wuddly regulars, that I will probably go back and do that one more time. Just see, make sure I can see this. So what I'm going to do now is I will put up here, right, Creative Dragonfly. If you think of a pseudonym for yourself, then we'll change it. But for now, I'm just going, this is the list. So this is the giveaway. So look at these odds. Creative Dragonfly, Paul, Deirdre. So at the moment, that's it. I would expect at least Brian to join us and possibly a couple more. But so look at the odds there. You can't beat that, really, can you? Okay, right. Excuse me. So on with the show. Right, we looked last week. Paul, I don't know if you had a chance to catch up. I know you've been very busy looking at trains. So I looked at lots of traditional drawing techniques and traditional drawing exercises, and one of the exercises, you've got a cuddly tiger. Oh, okay, fantastic. Well, I was kind of thinking you might do it for one of your children, but yeah, there's absolutely no reason why it can't be for you. You've certainly earned it. If participation was a measure of worthiness, Paul, you'd be right up there. So here's one of the things we did last week. So we were talking about tone and light and shadows. You've got a Darth Vader and a tube. Oh yes, I've seen your you've got a Grommet. Okay. I've seen a stormtrooper, haven't I? I'm sure you posted a stormtrooper on one of your posts. Okay, so towards the end of this demo last week, we looked at the colour wheel, and I started talking about colour temperature and about how we tend to think of orange as being like the hottest colour, and we tend to think of blue as being the coolest, and then we talk in terms of warmer and cooler. So you can have what we would call a warmer green, which is going towards the grassy side, and then you could have a cooler green, which is going towards the like a sea green sort of thing. And similarly, you could say that with say a purple. Like a pinky purple is what we'd call hotter, and then a bluey purple is going towards the cooler side. So it has a great effect when you're doing work in terms of, I'm sure you've seen it in like fabric and things. You did, yes, I wasn't imagining it. So I'm very at home to all toys. They don't have to be furry. They can be shiny. We can do shiny ones. Yes. So right. So then I was looking at autumn leaves, and I found a few reference photos. Mitch has got several, so I'm so thankful now to have good internet. Oh right, okay. So you're right back home. That's good. That's good. Well, I'm very glad to have you back, Paul, because we have missed you very much. I actually joined Brian's stream the other day, if that's so we can see you. And it was fantastic. He does fantastic demos. So, autumn leaves. So I've got these reference photos. I really like this one, and one of the things I like about it is that it shows all the different. I can show you straight to the references slide. Okay, there we go. So it shows the different colours that you can get typically in leaves, moving from, so if you could say orange is considered to be like the hottest, and they sort of get cooler, but it's a bit of a nuanced thing, and it's a bit of a, I think it can be debated. So here's a couple of examples of real contrasts. So you'll remember on the colour wheel, we talked a little bit about opposites. So we talked about how blue is, I don't know if you can see that there, I'll move it right up here. So we talked about how blue is opposite, like orange. and that's exactly what's happening in this picture. So there's like an orangey yellow opposite the blue, and that's why it really pops. And if you do this in a picture all over the picture, then it can just be too much. It's like having detail all over your picture. It's not it confuses or befuddles the viewer, or just leaves them feeling a bit overwhelmed. So it's quite good to use this sparingly, and it's another tool alongside good old contrast. So if you're looking at drawing a viewer's eye to a section, a bit of really strong contrast, like here to here, or you know, from this light to the dark, that helps attract the eye. And this is another trick. So this, I'll just, okay, I'm not going, whoopsie, sorry, went for a little walk there. So this, and here's another one. There's another variation. So that one is looking at red and green and how they pop against each other. So today I've no idea. I know it's very bad form to start a live stream with practically no idea what you're doing. But what I thought I'd do is a watercolour demo. So I've got some nice brushes here. I tend to use sable. I've never quite found anything like it for watercolour. There are lots of great brushes, synthetic brushes for oils, but for watercolours, personally, I don't know about you guys, you might have found things that you like, but I do find these just hold the paint so well. They're quite expensive, but if you look after them, they'll last a lifetime. So I have, here's a sort of vague idea example that is just showing you how I was thinking about using oranges against blue. I'll get that out of the way. And I've got a sheet here prepared. So this isn't stretched paper, it's fairly smooth watercolour paper. It's but it is taped down, so at the end I can move it away, move the edges off, and you'll get that nice finish. So first of all, we need to think about layout and how we're going to lay out our picture. So we've got, I was thinking I would like to have several. Most of your paintings start with absolutely no. Oh great, okay, that's fine. Well, there's hope for me. Paul, I have to say I'm not quite sure that's true. I hate to challenge you so early on in your rejoining, but you always look as though you've got a really great plan, and it always fits so nicely on the page, and so I'm not entirely convinced, but lucky accidents are the stuff of life for artists, aren't they? And I also need to apologise for the fact this is the third time this soundtrack has played, so I was in a bit of a rush. Yeah, so right. So what I was thinking was something, a little bit of a design rather than a kind of picture that uses, I was thinking of using a variation of leaf colours and then trying to vary the background the other way. So and I do like to do a little bit of something a bit loose. Right, I've got a soft pencil here. I think I have a putty rubber somewhere. Excuse me. I don't know where that is. Oh yes, I do. Right, so I've got a putty rubber. So once the early bits of watercolour are rubbed out, dry, I can just rub it out. So you can see on this fish, there's a tiny, I don't know if you can see, there's a tiny bit of pencil there. So, so this one, for this photo, I really like the, there we go. This one, I like the variation in colours. This is just an example of the pop, and this one I really like the shape of the leaves. So I'm thinking of using that kind of shape of leaves and getting that variety of colour in, and then trying to get different popping backgrounds, if that makes sense. Right. So let us go to the drawing board. Okay, so feeling a little bit, maybe don't really want to do a twig, that's a little bit obvious. I'm thinking I might move to the shape, as we were thinking about shapes first, I'm going to move to the one with the shapes of the leaves and go a bit loose, and like consider them like a plate to start with. Let's get this camera down and focus so you can see. It's always a little bit faint at this point, but it will come out in a minute. Right, and I'm just going to do, basically think about where I might put some different sizes of leaves. I think we'll have them overlapping, a bit like we did with the fish. And I'm going to make sure I leave plenty breathing space as well on the design. Okay, so and try and get a little bit of rhythm there. So like this, by that I mean like here, you know, there's a bit of movement without being too staid. Okay, now let's look at the shape of those. So we've definitely got a kind of a vein thing going on, and the veins come from, so if we look at those leaves, let's move them into the middle so we can really see. Okay, so these leaves, they've got a kind of, if I do this one here, I'm going to do them, right, I'm going to do them like this so you can see. Right, so they have, if you consider the leaf to be like a saucer, then sorry, I'm just looking to put my drawing board on top. Okay, so if you consider the leaf to be like a bit of a saucer, that's not going to work, is it? Okay. You can work out those. So this is, if that's the stalk, it carries on down the main vein, and then in these, I think these are aces. You might know, Paul, you probably know this. You are a creative dragonfly. I hope you're all right. Sound like you've had a bit of a time of it, and you're probably quite tired after your week. Hope everything's going on okay. Place. So did you notice, looking at that, looking at the leaves, there's a break here, there, so there's a break in the leaf, and that's where the leaf kind of starts. And then let's go, I don't want to over explain, I'm not going to do this for all the leaves, I'm just really doing it to show you. And obviously they're not the same shape, but I think that's a fairly convincing thing. So you can see how I've used the circle, and now I'm just going to really go free form. Let's just have a look. So you can see some of the leaves are more serrated than others. Right, let's go back to the, let's get that leaf picture slightly out of the way. There we go. Right, so if anyone's just joined, welcome. It's very much like a maple or acer. Yeah, I think so. It's those colours, isn't it? If anyone's just joined, welcome. I'm going to talk about the giveaway draw periodically, but it's not the sort of dominating thing of this stream. And you are very welcome to enter. And all you have to do is join the chat to enter the giveaway, and I'll talk about it in a minute. Right, so all I'm doing here, I hope you can see this. There you go. Is just broadly mapping out, and then I will do the contours of the leaf, so I will do those contours there we go, with the brush. I'm not going to actually do them with the pencil, but I just need to get a rough framework at the start. Very much, thank you. We had a 3 AM change of bed. Oh my goodness. Oh right. Oh, you're okay. Yes. Oh, the A&E is such a miserable place. I hope I can give you a bit of a little bit of a break from that. A little bit of being transported away to a world of autumn trees. Anyone go to Westonbirt? I haven't been for years. This I think will be very helpful for me to get my poor orchid flowers. Well, I think it all helps, Paul. Do you know what? I think even figure drawing It all helps. Everything you do, all practice, whether you're drawing, and this is why I do the soft toy portraits. It's all, doesn't matter, it's all practice. It all helps. So I'm going to do the I'm going to do the stalk of this one just for a bit of variety coming from here, and hopefully they look like they're falling out of. So you can see this is well, so far it might go horribly pear-shaped, but you can see it's not like, not rocket science this. If you've got those varied circular shapes, you're there. Right, I'm not liking the, let's get that one in. Right. There. Oh good, I'm very glad I'm transporting you, and you are giving me reason to be here, because if you weren't watching, you guys, then I wouldn't need to be doing, there would be no point. So it works for me too. It's lovely. You feel like my virtual friends. It feels like I've gone to a little secret place. Creative Dragonfly, I hope you can see that. Paul is saying he hopes you're all right. Right. Yeah, knackered. Feeling quite fresh today. I wish I could take some of your tiredness away from you, if you rest from it. But I hope there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that this will, all this will pass, as they say. We've had to get used to so much, haven't we? We've had so many surprises and changes. I know what I was going to ask you. Sorry, I'm not really changing the subject, but on a medical note, has anyone else heard of lots of false positive tests? Because as a family, we had the two teenagers falsely tested positive with a lateral flow, and then negative with a PCR. And I was talking to a friend who'd had exactly the same thing with her girls, and it was just, these look, I'm happy with these. They look as though they've all just drifted off a tree, don't they? So a friend's child has just tested positive, and you know, whereas before we were getting this sort of sense of panic, I'm now slightly thinking it may be, I don't know, has anyone else had that? Right, just a, so it seems we have, oh no, oh Paul, oh you, okay, yes, a lot of these false positives, they're, it's really weird. Right, I'm going to bring that one in from here. That. What happened, Paul? Tim Spectra Zoe COVID app? No, I don't. What's that? I like, I've heard of the lateral flow tests are more sensitive, yes. Well, I've also heard that anything acidic can make them turn up as positive. I like this kind of, I want to have a sense of a gust. So I'm going to change the, I'm going to bring this stick of that one down. I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger, and I'm going to also turn it into more of a saucer shape, because I think the saucers work. Oh, do they? Well, it seems funny because my friend's daughter tested positive from 2 different kits, so it did seem like it was picking something up. Well, do you want to tell us what happened, or are you just busy trying to forget the dreadfulness? It sounds awful. And did you get it all back? There we go. So we've got a nice sense of tumbling. I had a call from them saying suspicious activity. Oh right, yeah, they're really good at that, aren't they? So you confirmed, and then what happened? Stop and chat for a minute. Was this the one you were on holiday? Right, the app. Okay, this is Tim Spector Zoe COVID. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. People enter their symptoms. They started it at the start of the pandemic, worked out symptoms for double vaccinated or more like a cold. Ah. Well, I know people who are double vaccinated still get stuff, and I know I've got a cold at the moment. I'm double vaccinated, but it's I'd forgotten how horrible colds were. We don't seem to have had any, do we? Good. Oh, I'm glad, Paul. I'm very glad. Right, let's go back to the drawing board. Here we are. Now I've got these. So let's look at these colours now. So I'll move on. So that was my shape reference. These are the sort of colours that I'm looking at using. Let's get that down here so we can see for a minute on YouTube. Sorry, I'm just going to cover up your chat for a second. Okay, so if anyone's watching on, I know I can put this here, on Instagram. So what I've done is I've sketched out the outlines using sort of circles to get a bit of rhythm first. I'm looking at including this variety of colours. I really like these different coloured leaves, and so here's my colour wheel. I'm going to use this sort of technique. You can see that the veins in the leaves, that's really interesting. The green veins on the green leaves, they're green. On the red ones, they're dark red. That will be an interesting thing. I might put that in at the end in some pencil. Oh, an hour on the phone last night. That's so boring, isn't it? I hate it when I hate doing things like that when you've got nothing to show for it at the end except you're back where you thought you were at the beginning. Very frustrating, but kind of reassuring. Do you know where it was? Do you know where? I suppose you might need to be careful what you say, but I wonder how it happened. I wonder how they got your details. And now I suppose you've got to get a new card, have you? Right, so we're going to do the leaves first, just like we did with the koi carp, and then we'll do the background. So there's the koi carp, so you can see. And I think I'm thinking I'll probably do a mix. And I think what I might do is if I plan to fade this from blue down to green, the background, and then I'll tend to have more red leaves down here. Oh gosh, that muzak, that's so awful, isn't it? Yeah. I hate that, but you've got to keep it on because you've got to hear if you get through. Yeah, so up here I'm going to tend towards, what did I say? Orange, greeny, green leaves going down through orange into red. And then to try and get the opposite colours, if I've got the red ones down here, I'm going to have can you work out what colour will I have in the background down here? I had red here. While you're thinking about it, I'm going to change the question. Right, I'm going to put one in. So I think the red would have more impact up here. Don't you? Or orange? Okay, I'm going to go. I can't decide whether to do red at the top, going down to green. No, I'm going to do green at the top. Okay, so let's get started. So this is a useful tip for watercolours. Oh, yesterday! Hello, how lovely to see you. Welcome. Let me just come on the chat for a second. Excuse me, guys. Hello, yesterday. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you're well and having a nice weekend. Green, yes. Well done, creative dragonfly. So behind the red leaf I'll put some sort of greeny background. Yeah, so I'm not going to be really rigid about it. But yesterday, if you hang on for a couple of minutes, I know you're super busy, so I'm not expecting you to watch the whole time. But I'm running a giveaway draw for a Soggy Rabbit portrait, and you can enter by just joining the chat. So unless you want to exclude yourself, you've already entered, and you may win a soft toy portrait, which you can give to anyone that you may know who may have a soft toy. Like here's one I've prepared. So by joining the chat, you've entered into the draw. Watercolours are a mystery, right? You love acrylics off or on the canvas. Ah, that's interesting, Paul. Well, I'm sorry, this is you can do that with watercolour as well. Right. Okay, let's get back to the drawing board. So just a note on not muddying your colours, and this applies whatever you're doing, whether you're doing watercolour or acrylic or even oil, is if you go and you mix colours which have got colours on the opposite side, you muddy your colours. So what I thought I might do to actually keep it clean today, hopefully we don't have any of, we had, Paul, in your absence, we had a slightly fruity comments from somebody, but I now at least know how to, I think I know how to block someone, but I do know how to clear it. Okay, well I hope this convinces you to enjoy watercolours as much. I do love acrylics, though, they're great, and acrylics you can use on canvas. Oh, okay, yesterday, fantastic, that's great. Okay, well you can always get someone else to enter on another account if you want, right, to bump up your chances. That goes for everybody, by the way, that's not special to yesterday, not special treatment. Yesterday's one to watch, by the way, Surrey Artist of the Year to be announced. We're rooting for you yesterday for that as well. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I'm going to keep my blues on a separate plate from my oranges, and they will end up getting a bit mixed up, but I'm just going to try and keep them separate as much as I can. So I've got a couple of blues here, and I've got some, so these are like squeezy ones. They're very strong colour. So you don't need too much, but I've also got pans. So these are called pans. I'll show you in a second. But basically I've got a slightly yellow, this is a kind of yellowy blue, this is cerulean blue here, and look at the difference there, you can see even there. So if we look at our colour wheel, we'll be reading. I am quite fair, thank you, I do try. I do try to be fair, but I do have favourites. You're all here, my favourites. I tell my children as well, we have like a ranking system. There's none of this like I love you all equally. It's like you are my favourite just now for just that thing. Yes, I know, yesterday's work is amazing, isn't it? She's so interesting. You have the most interesting captions and links. Right, are tubes better? I wouldn't say so. I think it's a convenience thing. If you're doing something big, then tubes allow you to take more. They need a little bit less work insofar as, let's get this open. So when you use pans, you have to kind of swill them around with the water. But these are obviously really portable, so you can get big pans. So, and some people even, I think, fill up their pans from their tubes. So it's not, unfortunately, a straightforward answer. But right, so I've got a couple of blues there, and I'll have more blues here. And then let's get those hot colours out. So, whoopsie. So I'm thinking, if I was driven, I'm trying to work out where those, oh, don't do this. It'll make you cringe. So I would like to have, for a little bit, it's not realism, but it's a hint at realism. I'd like to have the background blue going down towards green, because it's kind of suggestive of sky going down into grass. So given that, if I'm having green here, I'm going to get some red ones down there, and then I'm going to tend towards the oranges and greens up there. And as I mentioned at the start, I don't want every leaf to pop equally against the background, because if that happens, then it's just going to, I mean, it is going to be a bit of an overwhelming picture. I think this is going to be, you know, right up there in the brights. I thought I had like a lemony yellow. So these, I don't know if you can see, these are quite warm yellows. And I think, fingers crossed, what's that? I can't even read that. Let's have a look. Yeah, this is a greener yellow, not particularly bright. And then this pan here, I've got a nice looking sort of cadmium-ish yellow. And then talking of cadmium, got a cadmium orangey red there, which I don't normally use that very much, and it tends to be very overpowering, but I am going to be using that today. I'm not going to use a green because I'm going to mix my green, and I've got like a couple of blues here. Right, let's have some fun then. So this isn't a moment to be really faint-hearted. It's a moment to be bold, and there you go. I've got so I'm going to use, they say always use a slightly bigger brush than you feel comfortable with. So I'm going to go with this stonking brush. This is, look at that. It's so beautiful. I don't know if you can see, it's really lovely. And so I'm going towards the green end. Oh, I need a dark red, which I think I've got here. Okay. So, and one other thing I was going to mention is I'm actually separating the waters as well. So the waters will also, and the brushes. So I'm going to try, at least to start with, not to mix. Let's see what colour. Right, so there we have like a really kind of purpley red. So we've got an orangey red and a purpley red. So if we look at the colour wheel, this one here is more like there, so it's towards the blue end, so it's on the cooler side of red, and then this one is on the hotter side of red. Okay, so and looking at the references, those leaves have got a mixture, so they're not just one red. So I'm really just going to load my brush up fairly strongly. I'm dabbing it around. I would normally have a test card, but I think I might even dispense with that. So here you go, Creative Dragonfly. I think pans, they tend to, they can get a bit sloppy as well. There, oh, I've just watered that down far too much. And one of the nice things about these is you can, right, let's go in there with this. There we are. Okay, right, so one of the nice things with this sort of is this, something like watercolour or any really fluid medium, is that you can kind of blend, like you were saying, Paul, blend on the page. So I'm going to tend from a kind of like a, keeping a vague sense, and I'm also going to use some more water. Always have, I got one, oh yes, always need a blotter of some sort. Let's get a bit of blotting paper, aka kitchen roll. And then you can use the water, it's nice and warm in here. It's nice doing watercolours in the warm. I'm going to suggest that serration, it's very easy obviously, and not get too, here we go, maybe even need a few flashes like that. And you might notice, I don't know if you can see, my board is actually on an angle as well. So I try not to worry that too much, but I am going to add in a little variation in hue. So I'm going to add in a little bit more of that cadmium. So I'm just mixing it here. There we go. Let's go a bit orange. Just to, and sometimes, I'm not going to go into the, sometimes these colours granulate, so you can dab them in. And it's just like, don't overwork it, you know, don't go mad. Try tubes. You've struggled with the pans. Yeah, I am not convinced by these pans. Okay, so just like I was doing with the fish, I'm going to do the same sort of thing, like just going another orange, and I'm going to try and do I'll do the extremes. So looking at the so I see that the stalks also have a slight, they look as though they might have been dyed in that photo, but the stalks have got an element of the colour that is used, that is in the leaf. I think I might do that later. Let's move this out a bit and then you can see the picture develop. Right. Okay, so I'm moving round my plate and I'm adding in, I quite like this yellow, this is a nice one. So I'm working up towards a kind of greeny yellow up here. In fact, let's do that big one at the top, because once you've got your two extremes sorted, you can, there we go. Okay, right, once I've got these two extremes sorted, then I can kind of vaguely make reference to them along the way. There we are, okay. And I'm not using any resist. I did have a bit of a wax candle ready to possibly do some resist, but I don't think we need it. Okay, I've got a bit of overlap here, that's going to be nice. So I think I might make this overlapping leaf green, so they'll have a relationship, because the yellowness. So I don't want to call anyone out if you want to lurk, but what are you guys up to this weekend then? Catching up on sleep seems to be a bit of a priority. Yesterday Paul was saying he had a bit of a credit card, someone used his credit card uninvited. He's got his money back, but not without a long wait on the phone. You make it look so easy. Oh, Deirdre, thank you so much, and thank you so much for watching. It's really lovely to have you on. Thank you. You know what the truth is? It is easy. Look, you know, there is nothing to this. You can see. And all these guys watching have accounts and are like me, just on the same journey. This journey of, you know, discovering what you can do, practicing and enjoying it, and just enjoying the ride. I'd love it. I'd love to know if you were ever tempted to have a go, Deirdre. That would be lovely. I'm going to leave this one quite what we might call desaturated, because I'm going to stretch that out a little bit, because once we've got the sky on, it will pop anyway. And I quite like that variation as well. Maybe you do paint, Deirdre. Paint or draw. I'd be amazed if you had time. Oh, thank you yesterday. There's no making it look. It is easy. It really is. Right, I'm going to use, before I go into the blue, and it is actually also, the one thing I would say is not being afraid to make mistakes. And you guys, you know, I mean, I could get really nervous doing this, and instead I just look forwards to it. I look forwards to sharing this, and I feel happy to take risks, because I know you also do it, you get it, and you take risks too. So that's a really good place to be. This one's super bright. I haven't really gone there with the light direction either. Yes, I think watching people, you see how I'm getting, watching people really helps, doesn't it, Paul? I should do more of it. I mean, YouTube is wonderful. Not just my channel, obviously. But yeah, it is great to see people do it. And sometimes you'll be surprised. You see people doing it and you'll be looking at them thinking, oh, I'm not sure I'd do it that way. Already with your experience. I'm going to leave that little white, oh, I don't know. I'm going to knock it down a tiny bit. There we go. It's nice with watercolours to leave a tiny bit of the paper showing through. Look at that lovely texture. Oh, did I mention granulating? Yeah, so I don't know if that is starting. That is slightly starting to granulate, isn't it there? So certain watercolour pigments have different properties. Talks, reads that chat at the same time, Superman. Oh my goodness, I'm not going to be able to walk out of that door. My head's going to be too big. Well, you do most of the chatting. I don't feel like I do sufficient chatting, actually. That Brian's very good on his stream. Right, but I think I'm hoping that, like me, you're quite keen to learn. I'm always keen to learn. That's my priority. Right, so now we're going to move. I'm going to take these down into a darker red, I think. And then I'm going to introduce at the end, I'm going to introduce as this, so this leaf here is going to be a bit green, and I'm going to do that last because I'm going to use this palette. So I want to use all the reds and oranges first so they're not dirty with the green. Okay. Hello YouTube user 19, how are you? Very nice to have you. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining. Right, so we're doing a leaf, sort of kind of made up leaf design, and these are the reference photos that I was using. So I've been looking at how colour pops, and we're going to be doing, so moving from yellows down through the reds, and the background is going to go more green going up to blue once these leaves are in. We did get a bit sidetracked. Yes. Yeah, welcome. Thank you so much. It's really nice. It's really nice to have you back. What should I call you? Not YouTube user 19. I can call you that if you want. If you want to remain. Right, let's go for I'm going to put now. I'm really out of my comfort zone with the size of this brush, but I think that's quite a good thing. So I'm going to go another like yellowy orange one up here. Let's go up here. Right. If you hang on a second, YouTube user 19, you will. I'm doing a giveaway draw for I think you're in the US, are you? It's open to everyone. It is a Soggy Rabbit drawing. Cal, hi Cal, thank you. It's very nice to be able to call you by that. Okay, right, let's go for some. I'm going to darken this red now as we go down here. So Cal, in 2 minutes when I've done this leaf, I will talk to you about my giveaway draw, and unless you exclude yourself, you've entered by just joining the chat. That's all you have to do. It's super easy. It's not, I'm a rubbish business person. Yeah, so I haven't even said you've got to subscribe. Oh, you're in rainy England. I know, it really is a day for YouTube today, isn't it? I think all my children are plugged in, including the man-child. They're all plugged in upstairs. Okay, right, let's go for darker still. I really like this kind of, it's almost burgundy, so it's all right, you're going in about 10 minutes. Okay, right, I will pause. Paul, yesterday, Creative Dragonfly, and others, please forgive me for a second. I'm just gonna tell Cal so that Cal can see what the deal is. So Cal, in my one of my other hats that I wear is I do soft toy portraits. So I've got some of them here, and I'm doing in 2 weeks' time my live stream will be a demo of one of these. So the giveaway draw prize is to have that be your toy. So or the toy of, if you know anyone who's of a certain age and likes soft toys. He's now 10, but this is Soggy Rabbit. So Soggy Rabbit used to get his ears sucked a lot by my youngest, and that's how the business got its name. But basically I'm doing a giveaway, and so the prize is in 2 weeks' time you can have your toy drawn as the stream, and then I'll frame it and send it. So it's a Christmas present in the bag if you're a Christmas celebrator. So just by answering, going in the chat, you're in, and I've actually got a list here. So I can add you on, and then next week I will draw. So I will probably invite people to join the chat next week as well. Here we go, look. So we've got these guys on, and then there's you, Cal. I'm just going to write YouTube user. So come back next week, and I will do the draw. So if you're drawn, it'll be shown up there. And yesterday I'm going to put you in. So look at these odds. How good is that? Okay, so if you don't want to be in it, that's absolutely fine. Or you literally, there is no catch at all. But if what you mean is you don't want to be in, I'll just knock you out. But you can join if you want. Okay, so on with these leaves. So what are you up to then, Cal? I guess you're also hiding from the rain. Or are you streaming? Maybe you're going to go and do a stream. You can share your stream if you want. Right, I'm just dabbing in a little bit of blue. You can see how this is going purpley. So I'm taking some, I've got a nice purpley blue. So if I add that in, oh yeah, look, see how muddy that's gone. I might have got away with it though. I'm going to use this purpley red and a purpley blue. Ah, okay, nice. So you've paused. I'm honoured. I'm honoured. Yeah, it's just one of those days, isn't it, really? Okay, what do you play? Okay, you're going to go and order some food. Right, sounds nice. I did an epic play date yesterday. We had 4 friends, kids, 3 kids, year 5 boys, so all 10 years old, and they were absolutely delightful, and they ate all their macaroni cheese. It was really lovely. And the sun, it didn't rain, so that was very nice, and they did a load of climbing the tree, and restored my faith in year 5 boys. It's really lovely. But we're PlayStation people, Cal, so I think there's a lot of Minecraft happens in our house. I'm not a teacher, no. I have done a bit of teaching. I used to teach computer programming in a previous life. But I love sharing. I think it's nice to share, isn't it? So yesterday, who's on here, has got teaching credentials. But like me, I think she's more going out in the doing phase. I think Brian does some teaching. Do you watch Brian, Cal? Right. Okay, so we've got some redder leaves here, and then move on up there. I'm going to go now for the yellowy green. You're not a Minecraft. Okay, right. Are you Fortnite? Or there's a bit of bit of Call of Duty happens in our house as well. Does it? Or Grand Theft Auto happens. That's an awful game. What's that? FIFA. We love FIFA. That's really good. Yes. Okay, thank you, girl. Great to watch. Not a medium uncomfortable. Got a few jobs to do before going to the theatre. Oh, enjoy the theatre yesterday. Oh, thank you, Paul. I really appreciate that. Right, so yesterday, if you want, you can catch up later. I'll post the finished result on YouTube. Sorry, on my Instagram. Oh, right, you're old school. Okay. You love GTA and FIFA. Yeah. Right. FIFA's amazing now, isn't it? It's quite incredible. I think it's only a couple of years before I come down the stairs and I'm not going to be able to tell if it's real football or FIFA. Okay, to briefly get back to the painting in hand. So I'm going to go for some greeny leaves. So I want yellowy green. And if I mix them, any of this red in, I guess you know what's going to happen. It's going to go mucky. And I've got quite a bit of red in my water. Oh, Jane, hello. Now just having to say, oh no, oh, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Welcome, Jane. It's so lovely to have you. Thank you so much. And you are on the Outer Hebrides. That's amazing. Wow. Very far flung, and I imagine cold and wet as well, is it? It's very cold. We're in the west. I'm in Bristol. Yeah, cold and wet here. So somewhere, talking of cold and wet, I have another pot of water reserved. Oh, okay. I don't, right, I'm really out of my depth. I'm going to have to leave you to talk to Cal, Creative Dragonfly, while I paint. Okay, so I'm going to go towards the greeny side. So I'm going to pinch a little bit of blue from the blue palette here, and I'm going to use, because I'm mixing up a green and I want it to be quite vivid, hopefully you can see that cerulean blue at the top is more of a greeny blue. It's got a bit more yellow in it, so I'm going to use that one to keep it as green and clean as it can be. So I'm going to just borrow a tiny bit of that blue, get a lovely green. Right, there. Mixed with not a warm yellow, I'm mixing it with more of a greeny yellow as well. And let's see how that comes out. Oh yeah, there we go. Right, and I think this would be a prime candidate for right, and Jane, I will in a second, I will take a step back and talk you through what we've done so far, or maybe you've been watching all along, so let me know if you want, if anyone wants me to go back through what I've been doing. It won't take a second to catch you up. Don't hesitate to say, otherwise I will plough on, because I know you're all paying good attention. Ah, yes, we did get the vaccine. Did you? Yes, I've been blessed with a vaccine. Right. Oh, there's a knock at the door. Hello. Is it the tea fairy? Oh, it's the tea fairy. Thank you so much. Thanks. Oh, wonderful. Right. Oh, thanks, Jane. That's lovely. And well, I hope it was worth it. Let me see, where are you watching? Oh, you're watching on Facebook. That's really nice. So I've made all the comments pop-upable so that you can talk to each other if you want. Now on this green, I think I might just dab in a little bit more blue. Yeah, just try and get, oh, that's very blue. Right, now this cerulean, I think this is really going to granulate. This is going to do some, watercolour's great for interesting effects, and in nature as well, it's really good. You get some great effects. So I'm going to be a little bit loose, and that's where having this bigger brush really encourages you to be loose and not get too tight about things. This has been very enjoyable tuning in again. Oh, thank you. Yes, Oh, Deirdre, right. Well, thank you so much for joining. It was absolutely lovely to have you. I'm really flattered that you stayed after really, you know, it was. I just wanted you to know that there was that that draw going on. So thank you so much. And bye, Cal. Thank you as well. Thank you for joining. It's really lovely to have you in, and I hope you pop back again soon. Enjoy your dinner, Cal, and good night. I hope bedtime goes smooth, Deirdre. Right, there we go. There's a yellowy leaf, and I'm going to go for a little bit more yellow over here. Go. Trying to mix, you know, create variety in terms of where they're. I will answer your question, Creative Dragonfly. Where they're sort of, some are opaque and some are very transparent, and that is a function of the pigment, just like with oh, Brian, lovely to see you. Okay, lurk away. Thank you for joining, so nice. Right, so there we go. So now I'm just going to try, I know it will go muddy, but on this one I am actually going to deliberately muddy it up a little bit just to see what happens with that kind of graded. I think that might work. So they're not all totally vivid. I like that so much, actually. I might do another one here. I like that colour. After making such a song and dance about being vivid and desaturated. There we are. Okay, so we've got all our leaves, first pass, and I'm gonna now, so this background is going to tend down towards green here, so and then it's going to tend towards the blue here. So a lot of watercolour is about planning. Yes, it is lovely, isn't it? Lovely to see Brian. Brian pulls back from his jaunts and has had yeah, well, Paul, I'll let you talk to Brian. Yeah, so I am going to do the background. I think I need to kind of ring fence these stalks as well while I've got the colours, and then I'm going to start the background with the blue because I will be adding to it to make the green. So I start with the pure colour and then I'll add in the green. Yes, they are. Oh, and hello, Leon. Anyone who used to watch my Soggy Rabbit streams will remember my child Leon, and he's on here as well now. Leon's on YouTube too. Leon, you can give your channel a shout out if you want. If anyone wants to watch any videos on, I'll tell them what you do, Leon. It's a bit niche. Right, so I think they need to be a bit darker. These let's have it so you can see. Oh, look at that, actually look on the reference photo. So I'm going to go for a slightly finer brush here, and I'm going to mix in I'm going to mix in a bit of dark. I'm almost tempted to go for a bit of dark brown. That's a reddy brown. Let's see if I can find I don't know what I've got in it. One of the trouble with pans is it's really hard to see what's in them. This is like a black, I think, but that will desaturate the colours, but it will also darken them. So let's go with a black and a red. There we are, that's a really nice. Okay, so that would work for this one, I think, and I'm going to just try and be bold and do a sweep like that. And this is actually pretty dry already, so I think I can get some veins in. I'm really trying not to overwork it, not to think too hard. Now, Leon, I don't know what happened there. I think did you maybe it didn't like you sharing a link. I might have it set to not allow link sharing. Sorry. Leon's YouTube channel is just his name, Leon Gent. Right. Yes, they are. They get really grungy and horrible, Creative Dragon. Right, you were asking about how you know which colours to mix. So it's a lot of it is just practice. It's trial and error, and you can obviously do these things. on a test sheet. So some people use a test sheet all the time and have it, and I did for my last demo. I'm getting a little bit, whoa, that's pretty strong, isn't it, up there? That's not left anything to the imagination. That's a bit of, I certainly wouldn't have planned to do that, but I'm gonna go with it. Sometimes things like this look better once the picture is complete, and also watercolours dry lighter. So it's all this sort of stuff to learn, that you learn by experience and then unlearn. Right, so I'm just using, so I'm going with slightly more random colours, and going to do that. So, and as I'm, you know how they tend to get thicker as they're down towards the picked end. We've got this sort of central bit here from which all the bits splay. There we go. I'm going to go for a bit more red on that one up here. Hopefully you can see. That's a lovely, that one's graded really nicely. No planning at all. Oh, you were using stickers. All right, okay. Lilies. I love lilies too. They're great, but I have cats, and apparently lilies are supposed to be poisonous to cats, though I'm not sure if that's just a myth. Paul, the tea fairy who came in a little moment ago has got an orchid which her mother gave her, and we're failing dismally to look after it. I think we might need to find it a good home. It's I can't bear to watch, to be honest. Although I don't know, I think maybe it's an age thing. Right, that's all, I think that's all the veins. Oh, I'm going to do some dark green veins on this one here. So I just need to mix, I'm going to clean my brush a little bit. Use a dark blue and a little bit of yellow. Going to appear on your chat on YouTube like on the physical lot. Oh, thank you. All right, okay. Thanks, Leon. Getting YouTubing lessons. Right, so I've mixed up quite a muddy green there for this one here. And right, now as this leaf is on top, I will do its stalk first. Leave there so you can see. Right. So I'm going to sit for a minute to strengthen that, and then sweep it down here like that, and then sweep these, trying to be not too, if I take my hand off, actually there's a good tip, you don't want your lines to be too controlled, take your hand off the page, and then then you can't control them. I like those green ones. I'm going to go a little bit more green on here. Right, and then, oh, I should have done some more of that brownie. And then this one, it's going to come under the green. There. Right. So, right, I think I'm just about done with this hot palette. And I'm going to move on to the cooler palette. So I've got a tiny bit of green there, which I'm going to wipe, and a tiny bit of red, because I really want to try and keep this pretty pure blue to start with, because once I get right, orchids are sensitive to water. Most I can go 3, oh right, yes, and they like misting, don't they? Do they? Is that right? I don't know. I don't know what with though. Okay, and look how red, I don't know if you can see how red my brush is too. So I really need to clean that off. Okay, right, cup of tea. I might have a cup of tea, a little tea break and a chat. Okay, so yeah, orchids. And do you grow lilies, creative dragonfly? I'm not very good on indoor plants. I like herbaceous perennials, probably my favourite. I like things like astrantia and hollyhocks and yeah, things like that. I really like. It's like they have a kind of, I don't know if you find this, Paul, it's like they've got a personality, or I find them to be like children, and it feels very painful to neglect them. And Jane, if you're still watching, what do you grow in the Outer Hebrides? Is it different? I'm guessing it's quite a different climate. I don't know how that affects what grows. We've got a reasonably warm, wet microclimate down here in the west, in the southwest of England. I expect you get some really hard frosts. My uncle in Edinburgh used to grow lots of really great dahlias, but he had to take them out every winter. Oh right, okay, Paul. Oh, that's interesting. Right, I always put them up in a shelf where the cats can't get to them. Right, let's get on with the picture. So, I will take, if you're watching and you want to go and have a quick comfort break, if you've already seen this, but I'm just going to tell Jane and anyone else who's watching about the giveaway draw. So just so you can see, this week and this week only, I'm doing, oh, you're on holiday. Ah, right, okay, yes, yeah, Fife, very nice. I hope you're having a nice holiday. I hope it's, yeah, clement, is that the word? Or is it dreich? Right, so this is a Soggy Rabbit portrait, and next week I will be doing a giveaway draw free. So by entering the chat, unless you tell me you really don't want to be part of this, I will draw names from the hat next week. So next live stream I'll be live drawing a name from the hat from people who've joined the chat, and the prize is one of these Soggy Rabbit portraits. So I have a website and an online presence as Soggy Rabbit, and I do soft toy portraits from photos and frame them and send them. So they're really cute. It is Dree, all right. So they're really sweet. Here's one. Here's an example. So on my stream in a couple of weeks' time, which will be my last one for a little while, I'll do the winning one as the demo, and then I'll frame it and post it. So basically, if you've got kids or friends with kids, or you know someone who's really attached, let me just see. Right, I'm gutted when a plant dies. You've got it. Oh wow. I love weeping figs. I wonder if it's got those plaited stem. Yes. So what I was saying is that so if you unless you want to exclude yourself from the draw, you'll be put in the draw, and then next week I will draw a name, and the winning person can send me a photo of a soft toy, and then I will use that the following week in the demo. So that's it. And if you want all the boring terms and conditions in which there's absolutely nothing of any surprise, I won't be stalking you or saving your name or anything like that. It's all on my website. I think I put it down here. There's the terms and conditions are down there, but it's just standard giveaway terms and conditions. So you'd be super welcome to enter, and I will, and I think you'll be surprised if you win with how nice they are. I hope so. Anyway, let's get back to this drawing. Okay, so just before I put the background in, if I go in close, you'll be able to see there is quite a bit of pencil, and I might just, before I go in with now that it's kind of dry, I'm going to go very carefully just lose the most obvious bits of pencil. Let's take that out like that. There. Is that a good view? Right. So, who's got a soft toy then? I got a bit of a tragic history of my soft toy. Well, basically, I'm still carrying the scars. So my lovely dad, who was really, really a lovely guy, very gentle and very kind, and he was Scottish. He was from East Lothian, and moved down to England. He went to Heriot Watt, as did my mum, and then they moved down to England. Oh dear, look what I've done. Oh, nasty smudge, never mind. When we used to move house quite a lot, and in my bedroom I had a secret floorboard that I could remove. So I would pull back the rug. This is when I was about 6. I'd pull back the rug and keep all my lift up this floorboard and keep all my treasures under there, probably in amongst a load of buried cables and all sorts of other dangers. Anyway, my treasures consisted of various bits of sealing tape, sealing wax, and whatever else Puff the Magic Dragon had. And I had a 45, so this will separate the wheat from the chaff if anyone knows what a 45 is. Yesterday will know, she's watching, and Paul, I expect you know. And that's absolutely no aspersions on you. I think it's a good thing to know these things. So I had a 45 of Enid Blyton herself reading a Noddy story, which whatever you think about Noddy stories, even at that age, I thought this is going to be worth something one day. So I was actually keeping it, although I did know the story about Noddy and Big Ears, word for word. More to the point, I really thought it'd be worth something one day. So that, I was told, that's got to go. We were moving house, so he said, you can't keep that, you're going to have to throw that out. And the other thing I had to throw out was my teddy. Can you believe that? Yes, a 45 or a single, exactly, yeah. So can you believe my lovely caring dad? I don't know, he's not around, I can't. You've still got a turntable. Oh, that's cool. I've got a turntable as well in my studio, yeah. All sorts of well, this one's really quite wet up here. I think I'm going to have to be careful with that. Yeah, the thing with watercolours, Paul, that is quite scary about them. Look what I've done up here. I've made a bit of a mess up here. I think I'll get away with it because I'll use quite a strong background colour. But yeah, this is that can be a bit of a problem. Whereas with oils, you can just, and with acrylics, you can just paint over it. And if it's a colour that lifts, then you can lose it. So some colours stain and other colours don't, and I don't actually know, I haven't tested with these, whether which ones of these stain and which ones lift. I've no idea. I don't know. I mean, I'm not very sentimental about things like that, but yeah, I know. It's like I can still remember that teddy. It was like it wasn't a valuable teddy. Anyway, and it wasn't like a malicious, it was more like, oh, you're too old for that now. I don't know, I think he was brought up in a house he was one of the youngest of 5 boys, and maybe that's got something to do with it. Maybe there was just no time for sentimentality and no space for surplus soft toys. Anyway, so I'm carrying that because you see I've really got past it. So I've started a business celebrating soft toys. I don't think it's connected. But yeah, okay, right, so here we are. Now, I've no idea how I'm going to do this, by the way, just in case you're labouring under the illusion that I know what I'm doing. I've got a nice clean pot of water, that much I do know. I've got a couple of blues here and another blue that I've got my big eyes for in here. That's it looks like a sort of ultramarine. Yes, scarred for life, exactly. The real motivation behind Soggy Rabbit is drawing practice, by the way, just so you know. I think you can never have enough drawing practice, and it's really good practice at resolving shapes and structure and light. Oh, thank you, Creative Dragonfly. I wonder, was it not great last week? Yeah, it's very easy to change. I won't touch it now, though, that you've said it's right. Okay, so because I've taped these edges and I've used this gummed tape, so hopefully it will peel off, and hopefully I'll get one of those nice, like a nice clean edge around the edge. I have got a candle. I was wondering about doing a bit of texture, but I don't think I will. Yeah, I was wondering about doing some kind of, I don't know, some wind lines. Shall I do that? Maybe I will. Nothing ventured. Okay, well, because I couldn't find I had a stick candle, but this should be all right. This is literally a tea light. Does a lot of soft toy. Oh, really? Yes, it is so nice. I say, do you have art lessons then, Jane? Right, so this is a tea light, and I'm just gonna, like, looking at this, I'm just gonna create some rhythm lines. Ah, okay. The music was a touch too loud, do you mean? And what these will do, they will resist the water. And it doesn't matter now if I take them through the leaves, because I've got the main colour on the leaves as well. I will sort of try and avoid the leaves a little bit, just to try and get, I don't know, just it's a bit experimental. Now you won't be able to see these, but and they really are a sweep. But I hope that in the next few minutes, as we get into doing, I don't want to overdo it, as we get into the there we go. I've got really sticky hands now. Yeah. In Newport. Oh right. Okay. And what do you do a bit of everything in your art class? I think doing it in real life, there's no substitute, and having that live feedback. They seem to have a nice dollop of acrylic. Yes. Yeah. They seem to have found me. Pencils and paint, yeah. So you've been, I think, acrylic, they are great. But wait till you try oil, Paul. Wait till you might. Right, I have no idea how that'll work. Yeah, that's really good. It's really good to mix and match, isn't it, Jane? Right, now I need my giant brush, clean water, clean brush, and plenty. So what I'm going to do is, because I've got more orangey greeny up here, and more red down here, so I'm going down to do more of a green this end. Oh, thank you so much. I'm probably going to ruin it now. I'm going to do more of a green this end and more of a blue up here. So I'm going to start with the blue, because I don't want to, once I've mixed in and made that blue go green, I won't be able to get that clean blue again. So I'm going to start with a clean blue. Right. So I've got, I'm going to slop quite a lot of water on the palette, because I'm trying to cover a larger surface area than these leaves. And sometimes people would pre-wet the paper, and then you could do like wet on wet, but because the leaves are already on there, I'm not going to. But what I want to do is, I don't want to have any I don't want to have any joins, if you know what I mean. I'll probably do 2 coats. Remember I said this cerulean is quite a yellowy blue, and this cobalt is kind of mid blue, and then the ultramarine I would say is more of a well, that blue there, let's have a look at it, let's get it out. So I think this is a bit more of a purpley blue. I've got another blue here. Oh, what about that one? That's the one I used for the water in the fish, but I don't think that's really a good sky blue. So looking at our photos, if we look at those reference photos, that is a lovely blue, isn't it? Now I would say that's a sort of slightly yellowy cobalt blue. So I don't go back to that, as it's rather lovely. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm going for up in this area. So I'm going to go to town with the cobalt, get a load of that mixed in. Look at that. And even though it looks dark on the plate, that's still going to be pretty faint. It's because it's watery. I've got quite a lot of water, and then as I go on, I'm going to add, I probably add a bit of that cerulean as I go down the page, and then thank you. Yeah, as I go down the page, I will add in first a bit of cerulean, and then take a little bit more. Where was it? Cobalt, yeah. Right, don't look at this. This is a terrible practice. Do not do that with your teeth. I can't believe I've got away with it. I don't do it very often, only when I'm showing off on YouTube. Okay, right. Oh, Caroline and Julie, so lovely to see you. I'm really sorry, I've just seen that you've joined on Instagram. Thank you for joining. It's so nice. Welcome, Instagram people. I can see now there's a few people watching. Hello, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining. You can, if you want, go to the link in my bio, and that will take you through to YouTube, and then you'll be able to see a lot more. Yes, yeah, you're right, Paul. That could really work. Right, let's go back to the drawing board. Okay, and in a minute I will just talk through that giveaway draw again. But here we're going to go for that with this lovely blue, which hopefully is rather like that blue there. Okay, and for Instagram people, that is the look I'm going for. Okay, right. So let's go for it. And then I'm going to have to be quite quick as I go down towards the. Oh, Mary, hello, it's so lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Right, yes, if only it was a crispy autumn day. When I was planning this, it was lovely and crispy autumnal weather. Okay, so I'm getting vaguely ready to go down the green route, and I've got my eyes on, I've got a lovely kind of yellowy green in this palette, which you'll see when I put it on because it's got the light bouncing off it. So I'm going to have to work quite quickly at that point. Right, so you can enjoy this now because I'm going to ruin it now. Now, Creative Dragonfly, your question about white. Right, now this is good quality thick paper, and because of that I'm able to put this paint on quite thick, and that's a really useful thing. And I've also got my pad, I didn't mention this little top tip, but I've got my pad on at an angle. It's slightly tilted, just like, I don't know, 5-10 degrees, and that helps with running the paint down. Hopefully not running it actually onto the leaves, but as I said, we're not going to be too precious about it. Now look at that, wax is really having an interesting effect, isn't it? I'd love to say I tested this before, but I didn't. But that's the joy of watercolour and art in general, is just, you know, it's not life and death, is it? Even though it feels like it sometimes. And maybe, you know, like if you're doing, like yesterday, if you're doing like a big painting that takes, I imagine yesterday's paintings, they're so detailed and amazing, I'm imagining they must take quite a long time, and then you would want to maybe be a bit careful. But stuff like this, you know, this is just mostly this is meant to be relaxing and fun. Okay, so here's that. Look how that yellow is really singing against this blue. It really changes the yellow, and this is why some oil painters they don't like mix their paint and apply it in different areas across the paper. They do it, or canvas, they do it from one area and work out, because of this, what happens here, where it's also relative, it's also, you know, the colours all depend on each other for how they look, which is what this is all about really, this whole, you know, using colour temperature to make things pop. So some oil painters don't, that is a way of working it, but I'm not going to do that. Right, so I've got the blue firmly behind that, and look how nice it's, I don't know if you can see, it's granulating really nicely. Look at that. Whoa. Okay, now I'm conscious of this edge here, and I need to keep this edge wet because otherwise I will get a line, and I don't really, you know, lines don't matter, but I don't really want a line today. Thank you. Right. Now I'm going to creep into this yellowy blue of the cerulean. So I'm just adding a slightly more yellow hue, and that will change the, can you see? Hopefully you can. That will change the, and I have to work quite quickly because I don't want those edges to dry. So I'm subtly changing from a kind of straight, it's not a reddy blue, it's a cobalt, it's basically it's like a right in the middle, right on that colour wheel, bang on where it lives, on the primary blue is that cobalt. Okay, but now we're moving towards a sort of yellowy blue, so there's no going back from here. I can't, from this palette, I cannot really take now a nice clean blue, a nice clean mid blue. It's always going to be on the yellowy side, so I'd have to clean off the palette and clean off the brush, clean it all off. At that point of no return. And right, Creative Dragonfly, your question about using white. Well, when I was getting ready for this, I did actually pack some white just in case, and quite often people who do watercolours, yes, it is, granulating is exactly that. So quite often people use white gouache or gouache, I don't know how you say it, and that that sits over the top. So you can use, you know, I mean, I don't know if that's technically what you call mixed media, and there we go. Nice bit of, you can see, can you see that yellowy hue coming through? And yeah, I've got this, like, it's like a frontier, this line, and now this line is at its widest, it's most likely to dry, so I just keep breaking that line to keep it wet. And okay, now, and I'd like to go a little bit more greeny pretty soon. So so this is the green. How am I going to mix this so you can see? Right, I'm going to go over here. Right, so I've got a yellowy green here in this palette, and I'm just going to see, yeah, so look, so now first of all it's going to a bluey green like that. So I'm going to do the next, progress along this bluey. So I've gone from cobalt to cerulean, and now I'm on this slightly bluey green. Again, I'm just keeping a sense of that tide. Yeah, so gouache people use as a white, but really in watercolours, Creative Dragonfly, the paper itself is the white. That's the thing. So it's I think the purist would say you let the paper shine through, and that's why planning is probably more critical with watercolours than with other methods, because you have to kind of, once you've covered that paper, it's gone. So you can mask it off, you can use masking fluid. I've never really got on with masking fluid. You can use wax resist or you can just by eye, just kind of reserve stuff. Right, let's go for a bit more green because this is looking a bit boring. And look at that. Right, so I'm going to mix it all in. It's all kind of compatible. I've got a lovely grassy green coming there. Right, I hope this will work. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm literally just going to, while it's all wet, and I'm going to leave it to do its thing. I don't know how, so different colours, pigments combine with each other differently in terms of granulating. And you can actually buy books on watercolour, and some of the good ones give you a table, and you can learn from the table which colours granulate, which are transparent, which are opaque, which are staining. Thank you, Paul. Yes, I know what you mean. It's got a bit of that sort of lily pad thing, hasn't it? A bit like the one with the koi carp. Yeah, so all these properties are really, you know, a professional watercolorist would probably be quite well informed and be able, you can play with them and you can control those things if you know how they work. But if you don't, you can be like me and be some sort of a fly-by-night, what's the word? I can't think of the polite word for it. When you wing it, so you can just wing it like me. Thank you, Paul. That's a lovely thing to say. At least it looks like something. At least it doesn't look like cabbages floating on the water. But even if it did look like cabbages floating on the water, I would be... Yes, it's experimental! Debbie! Oh, so nice of you to join. Oh, Debs. Yeah, brilliant. Oh, so you're here and you're watching me on both Instagram and Facebook, or have you just come off Instagram onto Facebook? Very sensible. And then you can see the whole lot. Right, I am going to... So, Debs, I know you might be in the market for winning a soft toy portrait, so I'm going to break in a second and just tell people... Look, I'm going to get a seam there. Just tell people about my giveaway draw. It won't take a second. So this is a Soggy Rabbit soft toy portrait to be featured in... they have worked all right, haven't they, I think? Yeah, to be featured in the final, so the week after next live stream. And so it will be one... I'm going to do a giveaway draw, and anyone who joins the chat, unless you say you don't want to be in the draw, I will put you in the draw, and I will be drawing it next week live on this stream, and then the winner can send me a photo of their soft toy for me to draw as the... Thank you, Jane. Yeah, they're all right, aren't they? It's like, I might even go with a... There we go, a little bit of... I don't want to do this too much. When something works, I have a real tendency to then just like do too much of it. I need to stop, you know, learn to stop. Okay, so right, let's put that aside for a minute. I have to check how we're doing for time as well. I think I might do another pass on these leaves after this. I'm going to just zoom in a little bit so you can see the colours. There, you can see, I mean, that wasn't very difficult, was it? You saw every stroke. It's not, this is not rocket science at all. Frankly, a 10-year-old could easily do this. If I'd use wax first for the leaves, yes, I mean, it all works. So this, so with these fish here, I did the wax over because it was representing the highlights on the water. So I wanted that wax to cover everything because the fish were under the thing that the highlights were on. But in this case, I kind of wanted the leaves to be whole. So I did the first coat of the leaves and then did the wax. And I kind of stayed off the leaves with the wax. But hopefully you can see, look how that green, and it's not even a, you know, it's a bit of a dirty green, but it really makes the reds pop, and the blue makes the yellows pop. Cool, huh? Yeah, masking fluid. Yeah, I never really get on with masking fluid. I'm not so, I don't tend to love it. I find it can go a bit yellow. It's not, I don't know if it's archival, if that's the right word. It tends to go a bit yellow. So for the purposes of, for anyone who's seen this about right, this giveaway draw, I'm just going to go on and tell people about the giveaway draw so you know what you're into, and I can add your name onto the list if you would like. So I'm doing a giveaway draw of a Soggy Rabbit soft toy portrait. Yes, great for snow, Debs, great for snow. So this is the sort of thing, look how happy you could be, or you could make somebody if they had a Soggy Rabbit soft toy portrait. So basically next week I will be drawing a name from this list, and this list is the list of everybody in the chat. this week, and I'll put some, maybe if people join early in the show next week as well, I can put them on, and I will literally draw a name out of the chat, and then the person whose name comes out can send me a photo of their soft toy, and I will do a Soggy Rabbit soft toy portrait using that photo in the following stream. So that will be on the 16th of October. Yes, giveaway, Brian, giveaway. So if you're in the chat, I'm going to add your name, and then next week I will draw the name from the right, I will draw the names out. Right, so I'm going to put on here, we have Jane, and then I will cover postage and everything, so I will frame it and do postage. So you'll basically have, and I do free gift wrapping, so you'll basically have a Christmas present sorted. So Mary, I'm going to put you in, but obviously if anyone wants, I don't know why you might want to not be in this. It's literally, look how low tech is this. Okay, so Debs, I'm going to put you in. Have I got Brian? Oh no, you're not in yet, Brian. Right, now I think I've got everyone, but if you're watching and you want to be in this draw to win a Soggy Rabbit soft toy portrait, then you can say anything you like in the chat and I will put you in the draw, and then next week you might be the winner. And terms and conditions are on my website. It's just ordinary terms and conditions. So right, I'm just keeping a vague eye on Instagram. So I think, well done, everyone on Instagram has moved over, which is great. That's just because it's a nice wide viewpoint here. So let's look at where our picture is at now. Okay, now I just have to keep an eye on the time. What I'm thinking of, I do generally harp on, it's actually quite bright, look at that, it's really bright. So it's 22. So, oh, thanks, Brian. Would this work? Right. Oh gosh, Jane. Well, I know it's lovely. Well, I hope the winner is happy. It does mean coming back next week to see the draw, but I'll try and I'll publicise when it is. And if you can't make it next week, then I can maybe find you from the comments. Okay, so what I'm thinking is, I often mention, and if I take you back to last week's, excuse me, do you remember this last week? So light, I often talk about light. I talk about thinking of where your light source is, where your shadows are going to fall. And I would say that oh, Brian, you're super welcome. Thank you for joining, and your stream was amazing. I so enjoyed it. Guys, Brian is on, if you're on Instagram, Brian is on Instagram. Brian, you're on Facebook, aren't you? Brian is a professional artist in the Philippines and does fantastic realist oil paintings. And so Brian also streams, so if you're watching on Twitch, then you can catch Brian's stream, but at the moment he's not going to be streaming now because he is oh well, Paul, you're such a dear friend, and I know you liked those, and these sort of things, they tend to sit in my portfolio and don't get a home, so I knew you'd give it a good home. Yes, so Brian does wonderful oil painting demos, because I know a couple of you have asked me for oil painting demos. Right, still haven't sent you my Discord tutorial. No, you haven't, Brian. Okay, so what I'm thinking is, yes, please do send it this week, please, Brian. Thank you very much. So what I'm going to do for the last 10-15 minutes is I'm going to put a little bit of detail into these leaves. And I'm just going to have a little look at those reference photos. Let's just check close up what these leaves are doing. Excuse me, I'm going to make them really big. Okay, so you can see the veins moving on them and a little bit of gradation of colour. I think there is a bit of a tendency to be a little bit darker on the tips of the leaves. So I might try and pick up on that. I might do it on some of the smaller ones as an experiment first, just to try it out. And I'm also going to try and maybe create a sense of light and shadow. So I'm going to have to be careful because I don't want to spoil it. And also I've got these, you know, I mentioned not using this palette again, but I'm actually going to go back into this palette. So I'm going to try it quite cautiously on one leaf. The background is wet, and the big risk with this is if I break that kind of, there's a little bridge of dry paper between those two, and it's creating a really nice effect in the paper as it sort of settles down. But there is a risk if I break that bridge, this is going to pour onto here, and it might make a really cool arty effect, but I think it's going to look rubbish if I let it happen. So I'm going to go for a not too strong. I'm going to take, I've got this lovely kind of maroony red, two nice big pebbles. Ah, okay, Paul. Yes, pebbles. Wow, right, great. Okay, so I'm going to look at this leaf, and I'm just going to try touching it with this just to see what happens. Okay, so this, I'm going to go in close so you can see. Right. So this leaf, we had a bit of an accident with a bit of spillover anyway, so there's nothing to lose. I'm just going to experiment with possibly maybe being a little bit darker on the underside. So I'm imagining like the light is coming from above. I don't know if this will work. And maybe putting in a few more subtle veins on these leaves to help just give them a bit of shape. Let's see. Oh, that nearly broke. That nearly broke that. Living dangerously. This is where it all gets ruined and overworked. Don't overwork your work, friends. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, right. Let's just. I'm putting a few. So and this contrast will be even less when they're dry. Okay. Right, now this one has got a lovely. I'm trying to sort of match the hue of the leaves when I'm doing this. There we go. Excuse me. I am. Hi, Cal. Still here. Yeah. It's how was your tea? Did you have a nice meal? Thanks for joining. Right, look at that. So that's where we've got to. It's kind of we're nearly at the end. I stream for 2 hours on a Saturday, so I'm just putting in a little bit of detail with a finer brush on some of these leaves, aka completely overworking it and ruining a good painting. I've had a lot of enthusiasm for this giveaway, Cal. It's not too late to reconsider. But right, there we go. You're eating it now. Okay, cool. Right. I always come over. I come away from a stream really hungry. Right, there we go. Right, so this orange one, let's go in with a bit of a stronger red, and I'm going to mix a little bit of yellow in. It's a really nice autumn colour, isn't it? And I don't want that to be too a little bit more yellow. Excuse me, let's try. I don't want it to be too strong because I like this. This is probably my favourite leaf. Right, let's go here. Ah, yes. Takeaways, they were the saving grace of lockdown, weren't they, takeaways? Right. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just giving, trying to have a slight sense of the light coming from above. So a slight sense of allowing as well for the fact that watercolours tend to dry lighter than they were when they went on. So I can be a bit bold and it will definitely tone itself down without me having to worry. So with watercolours, if you do something and you think, oh, I hate it, don't panic and try and change it unless it's, you know, you're literally abandoning the painting. If you wait, it's quite often it will be fine because it does dry much lighter. Right, you know, look at this one. You can hardly see those marks I did before on here. Okay, and then this yellow one. Oops, see, there's my camera cable. Sorry, use the magic. Right, so this yellow one, I feel as though it is a little bit insipid, so I'm quite happy to be going in with a stronger yellow. Oh, thank you so much, Creative Dragonfly. What can we call you? I think we need to help Creative Dragonfly come up with a handle that they can use. So we can address them. Right. Okay, let's go for it. Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna intensify that a little bit there. Well, for tea, what's everyone eating for tea tonight? I had lentils for lunch. We might be having a takeaway actually, Cal. I think we've discovered there's a very nice restaurant called Giggling Squid that I went to with my daughter the other day, and we're always looking for it's Thai, really nice Thai food. And if anyone's been to Thailand, oh my goodness, the food is amazing. So yes, and it was absolutely incredible food, really, really lovely. So I think we might go for that. Although I'm a big leftovers girl, a bit of leftovers. What's everyone else having? Brian's not having tea now, are you, Brian? Brian's having hot chocolate. Respect. Are you, Brian? Right, now just in this section here, go in. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try and do a little bit of a cast shadow under there to try and show this leaf overlapping. I've no idea of that. And there. Let's go put some veins in here. Part of what I'm doing here is I think those veins there are too strong. So I'm trying to kind of distract the viewer away from them with a little bit more noise. It's rather devious, to be honest, but it's my painting. There, and again, I'm really trying not to break this wet edge here because that would cause the blue to just bleed into the into this picture and onto the leaf, and I hope that by now I've managed to convince you that that would be a bad thing and you'd get a really muddy. Okay, last one is the green, so let's go with I'm going to mix up now. I've got nothing to lose now because I'm not going to use this now. It's nearly the end of the stream. So let's make up a sort of greeny brown here that I can do that green with. Make sure I haven't got any sloppy bits. Okay, and let's go in here. See how? Oh, that's quite strong. But again, remember it might get lost in the drying process. The strength of those marks will go. And I do want this. The contrast on this leaf will help it sit in front of the other one, so it's fine to have a bit more. Okay, and some leaves, and then we're just about done. Yeah, so guys, I hope right, so next week is going to be something completely different. Next week I'm going to be doing moving figures, which if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know sometimes I do ballet dancers or what's it called, break dancers and other people doing movement, which I really love. So I'm going to be doing a drawing session on capturing movement. So we'll be looking, and in my closing sequence from this stream you'll see some examples. The dragonfly. Ah, Paul, yes, how great. What are you painting? Yeah, thanks, Paul. Oh yeah, well, can we call you Dragonfly? Well, we'll let you think. I don't want to take over this important moment. But Paul, that's a really lovely thought. Okay. Right, so there we go. Next week it's going to be movement, so it's going to be a drawing one next week, and I'm going to hopefully get some videos. I'll put that down, give you a little tour of the painting. Here we go. Look, so there's the reds, some nice bit of, yeah, so that's called granulation, and you get all sorts. This is one of the things you do. I just love about watercolour, and also how you can build it up in layers. So if you let the layers, you can play with it so much. You've zoomed out. Oh yeah, zoom. It's a mixed, it's a blessing in some ways, isn't it? Yeah, so you get all these lovely effects, and I would urge you to do it and be loose and not stress too much. Get something done, give yourself a time limit, maybe give yourself a couple of hours, and then just go for it, because that looseness really helps. So I'm just trying to focus my camera before I leave this like that. Oh, thank you, Paul. Yeah, it really is autumnal, isn't it? And shall I try? I'm going to try taking this off. Let's see. Ah, yes. Right, go up a tiny bit more, then you'll be able to see what we do. So just taking, it has spilled over a little bit. I'll try and take it off here. I might be able to clean this off later, but if I'd used a better tape, I would have got a nice clean edge here. That's not going to work, is it? So, okay, let's leave that. Right, so next week is going to be drawing moving figures, and I wanted to say thank you all so much for joining. It was so lovely. Jane, thank you. It's so lovely to have you join. I hope you come back, but if you don't, it's just been lovely having you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your holiday. And Cal, thanks so much for coming back. Brian, thank you for lurking even though you're tired. And Dragonfly, if that's how we can address you now. It was so lovely to see you. Yeah, just so great. Debs, if you're still watching. So yeah, so please come back next week. You will have you'll be in the draw, so you might win a Soggy Rabbit soft toy portrait. If I had more lifetimes and could split myself into 6 or however many, then I would do one for all of you, but I do have to ring fence my time. So yeah, and Deirdre, if you're still watching, I don't know if you came back after bedtime, but yeah, it's just so lovely to have you. And so please come back next week. If you want to tell anyone about this stream, please do. And if you look on my YouTube channel, all the old streams are saved. So all the old, you know, the fish that I did, the bear drawings, there's loads of stuff on there, and lots of stuff on line work. So if you're interested in just dipping in, you can scrub through the video, and you'll see what's in it. So yeah, Okay guys, well enjoy whatever you're going. Dragonfly is cool, but we'll think about Paul's okay. Yes. Well, we'll keep on Creative Dragonfly until you advise us otherwise. But yeah, thank you so much guys. I'm going to switch over to my end screen now and wish you a lovely end of weekend. Thanks, that was really fun. It's always fun with you guys. Always.